Hammer time!
Okay, today I'm going to be playing Star Wars Episode 1 pod racing game. So Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, I think it's called, on Nintendo 64. And I have a very strong memory of this game tied to it, and I will explain why. But I have to do a backstory first a little bit. Growing up about, I think, about 6th grade, I met this kid named Chris. Chris was a very tall kid even back then. He was like 6'4", very tall, lanky, he stood out. And Chris was huge into video gaming. Like, that's all he talked about. No matter every chance he had, he slept, he ate, he drank video games. He was one of those kids who had all the rare systems. He didn't have like the main consoles, but he had the rare ones that people didn't have. Like, he had the 3DO, he had the TurboGrafx 16, so we go to his house and check it out. And anyways, later on after high school, he moved in with my buddy, and they had a real small place, so Chris slept on the couch. And after about 3 or 4 months, he started having these backaches. So Chris went to the doctor. The doctor gave him some Motrin and said, you shouldn't be sleeping on the couch. Get a bed. Come on. You're wrecking your back and stuff. So after about 2 weeks of taking the medication, whatever, they probably gave him Motrin or something. I didn't ask him what he got, but basic stuff. He ran out and he went back because he was still having really bad aches and stuff. He was suffering from these backaches. So they did a few more tests and things, and they found out that unfortunately he had 2 serious strands of leukemia, 2 different strands. So he was going to have to go through chemotherapy. And so Chris, he went, well, his mother, it was just him and his mother. He never had a father around. I think his father passed away when he was really young. So, and Chris was the only child, and so his mother would have to drive him 2 hours to the doctor every day and then drive 2 hours back. So we volunteered to drive her sometimes. Anyways, after chemotherapy, he came back. I think it was about almost 2 to 3 weeks, and he came back. And the chemo took a toll on his body a little bit. I mean, it made him a lot skinnier, and his hair was, of course, falling out from the chemo. And so we found out when he came back that day, we decided that we were going to take him a game over there. So we brought him this game that just came out, this pod racing Nintendo 64 Star Wars game. We thought it was really cool, especially how fast it moved and things. And we said, I bet Chris will like this. So we took it over to his house, and Chris was there, and he was like, what's up, dudes, and stuff like that. And he was his spirits were pretty high, doing for all he went through, and joking even back and forth that now he could smoke marijuana legally and stuff, and we were laughing. And so Chris, we all decided, let's get some snacks before we show him this game. So we said, hey Chris, let's go get some sodas and chips. So we walked like 5 minutes from his house, and my buddy was grabbing the chips and things, and I was grabbing some stuff. I looked over at Chris, and he was about to grab a 6-pack of soda, but he just started shaking like crazy trying to pick it up. And I guess it was because his muscles are weak and stuff. So I went over there and said, don't worry, I'll pick it up. So I picked it up, took it to the counter, bought our stuff, came back to the house. And then we popped this game in, and as we were playing it, Chris was laying in the bed. He had this huge smile on his face because he was liking what he was seeing on his TV. He was just amazed by how fast it was going and stuff. And I could tell it was just like this huge, this is so cool, this smile thing. It was like, especially since we knew how sick it was satisfying just to see how happy his face, his expression was. And so, right after that, we raced a couple tracks. We said, hey Chris, you want to play? And he said, I'm real tired right now. And I said, okay, I understand. Because, it's a big toll on his body from all the leukemia, from all the chemotherapy and stuff. So we decided to leave, and we told him we'll see him again. And unfortunately, he had to go back to the hospital for some more chemotherapy. And less than 2 weeks later, Chris unfortunately passed away from the chemotherapy, from the cancer. So he did not survive. And so I believe he was around 24 when he passed away. So this was actually the last game that he saw. And thinking back on it, you know, it was still to this day, I just think of that expression when I looked over and saw that huge smile on his face. And every time I get a game that I think is really awesome, I always wondered to myself, I said, I wonder if Chris will like it, because I bet he would, because he was always into these games. So I always think of that. So that's the memory that I have tied with this game, which is a very emotional game for me when I see it. So anyways, yeah, this game itself, I really liked it because at the time it was a very fast racing game for its time, and very solid, easy to control gameplay, and everything worked great. And like I said, I picked it up for the Sega Dreamcast later on, and that's really a nice version because it has a lot of extra audio and graphics and things, and reflections, and lots of animations and stuff. So, but what a fantastic game for either system, even for this Nintendo 64. And doesn't have like tons of racers. I think there's like total of 6 or 8 of them. But for what it has, it's a good game. It didn't. I don't think it really did really well for the market. So you could probably pick it up pretty cheap. Didn't sell really well, but it's a very good game. Very solid racing game. Let's see, I'm doing overall pretty good. I had a little bumpy road in the start where I kept hitting that wall because I haven't played it in so long. So I forgot to pop it in and record some gameplay. So yeah, definitely if you can find this game, pick it up. Hopefully it's, like I said, I think it's going to be pretty cheap because it wasn't like one of the most wanted games, but very fun game. Even today, I'm having fun with playing it. And like I said, Chris loved it. He definitely had a big smile on his face when he saw this. It's too bad he actually didn't play. He was too tired, but he enjoyed watching us play. So yeah, definitely pick it up. This is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Fantastic game. See, there's all the guys, all the characters. I think there's 12 characters. I believe there's 12 positions, so there's 12 characters. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, have a good one. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, my